reminisce on the days of high school, living carefree and everything was cool. But sooner or later, reality kicked in. Will my life strive, or will my life come to an end? I watched my mama just struggle and fight, so when kids would grow up, and hopefully they would do what was right. Life ain't easy as I thought it would be. Go to school, get a job, watch money just roll to me. I got a job, but it's money I hadn't seen yet. 100 every 2 weeks, that's not a paycheck. I never pledged a fraternity. Call yourself what you want, you're catching hell just like me. Don't tell me this isn't true. Tell me what percent of this earth is owned by you. What, 30, 40, 50%? Yeah, you wish mother never told me be like this.
Mama never said it'd be like this. Mama never, she never told me.
Every girl that I meet say I'm too deep, but it's nothing but truth in the words I speak. Police label me a militant. I'm just an Asiatic black man trying to pay rent. Nowadays, people just don't care. They just barely survive and just living on welfare. People quick just to shoot you down because they don't know what to do when pressure's all around. So you better watch what you do, watch what you say. Today will be your last day. Mama, put this on my birthday wish. Please tell me why you never told me be like this.
Mama never said it'd be like this. Mama never, she never told me. Oh, she never told me.
Working 2 jobs just to make my ends meet. I'm straight tired, but I still don't have nothing to eat. Working all day and all night, so my little bitty hut will have some light. You know me, you know I got to do for self, so won't depend on the work of anybody else. See, brothers always talking, but not walking. Procrastinate, wonder why life is aggravating. Letting folks work you till you choke. Work 20 years the meal, and then you croak. You get mad, so you turn to alcohol, and you wonder what was your downfall. Take a look at the world, tell me what do you see? I see the whole world falling down right before me. To the fellas handshake, to the ladies here's a kiss. Mother never told me be like this.
Mama never said it'd be like this. Mama never, she never told me. Oh, no, she never told me. Mama never said it'd be like this. Mama, you never told me. Never told
Welcome, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Hey, Miss K at the bottom down there. I'm gonna bring Miss K up in just a minute. I don't know if she got something she want to say, but she's just joined us on the platform because you know it's my girl. Welcome, Miss Valerie Deham. Much love to you and Mama Watts. Fred Dancing. Hey, brother. Hey, Mama Dancing. BB in the house. Right Cross in the house. Miss Dorsey always in the house. Rocking with the truth. Always in the house. Sharice, a.k.a. Reese. All right, Reese in the house. Long time. And anybody else who's going to join us at the in this situation. Let me bring Miss K up right quick. Hey, Miss K, what's going on, beautiful?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just here listening.
Okay, you want me to just leave you up on the board and just mute you? Because she'll be coming in a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want to put up something, you guys, that she has sent me yesterday. It was just a little quote that the young lady who's coming on today, Miss Warrior, that she sent me, and I thought was very powerful what she said in it. If y'all can see that, you got to take rumors as compliments. The fact that your name is being brought to the table to tables you don't sit as show obsession. Let them stay bothered. You got to take a rumor as a compliment. You got to take a rumor as a compliment. So remember that you got to take a rumor as a compliment. The fact that your name is being brought to the table, you don't sit at shows obsession. Y'all get that? So you sitting down to a table and someone want to keep coming at you, I guess it would be, unless you done did something. Now, if that person's done something to you, then quite naturally you're going to continue to say something. But if a person just want to continue to come at you, take it as a compliment because they're obsessed with you. I have reasons on things that I do, but certain people don't have reasons on things they do, but for personal gain, personal profit, and personal vendetta. So you guys remember that you got to take a rumor as a compliment. The fact that your name is being brought to the table, you don't sit at shows obsession. Let them stay bothered. So whoever's bothered by you, let them stay bothered. It really doesn't matter as long as you're doing the right thing with all this. I want to say a few things. I want to thank Shy for last night. I mean, it was a very good live, and the young lady Dana who came on, and also the young lady who shared her story with us about her being a victim of being trafficked. There's a lot of women that is going through that right now, and have been through it, and have lived through it, and have testimonies and stories. I feel like by us doing certain things that we do, it's giving them the voice and giving them the courage to do so. For the women that thanked me yesterday, I know it's like 10 to 15 women at least that wrote me, because like when I went yesterday live and we talked about the video, sex tape pictures and all that. At the end of the day, if you've done something, you got to know that you got to be held accountable for it. Everybody does something they past, and anything I've done in my past, I'm never ashamed of it. It's never what you say, it's always what you can prove. And a lot of times people say things, but can they prove what they said? That's the one of the true facts. People don't know a part of living is a part of dying, and you're going to go through certain things, whether it's good, bad, or indifference. So even what we doing today with mental health, this is a way to allow people to listen, to know how to get through certain barriers or certain situations. Because sometimes if you go and you continue to listen to negative energy, you will draw into that negative energy. You will believe that negative energy that's coming in your face because you're too busy being embedded in it. At the end of the day, you got to know which battle you want to fight. You got to know which battle to choose to fight. And that's totally up to you. And anytime if your mental health is some way or any way jeopardized, then you should stand and then take a step back, because your mental health is a strong part of who you are. A lot of people do not want to acknowledge that, but it is. And there's so many weak, weak people that will try to play on your mentality and your mental capacity. If you take therapy, that's not a bad thing. That is a good thing, because being in a mental state of mind and it's a negative energy, you don't know what you may do. Trying to stay in a positive state of mind and having someone to talk to, even if it comes to the point like I have 3 people that I'm dealing with right now. As far as privacy, I'll keep their names, but it's like I'm their advocate. So if there happens to be a trigger, if there happens to be some way they feel some kind of way, if they happen to need to talk, and Miss K has experienced that as well, being an advocate, that you have like a coach or a person to talk you down off of that level. That way you don't have to go back to what you began with in the beginning. It's called growth. And a lot of us, we don't have people that we can pick up the phone and talk to. I do know as a mental situation that a lot of people need support, they need guidance, and they just need someone to talk to. I had a young lady call me last night about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we were going back and forth and talking for a moment. She woke me up out my sleep, but I just feel like that time of morning, is it something that you need to say? Is it something that gives you a change? But she was fighting with her virginity, because she cares for a guy. But then, it's like that pressure thing. And then how old do you have to be to give up your virginity? You need to be old enough to know to say yes and no. Whatever your virginity is, hit your thumbnail, warrior. So if you don't want your face shown, if you don't know, or you're not comfortable, or you don't feel some kind of way about something, then make sure that you are okay with it before anyone else. And if a person can't wait for you to give yourself to them completely and mentally, if it's bothering you, then that means you're not supposed to do it. A lot of times we go do things up under pressure, and to be a virgin or to hold your body of some type of source that she's never been touched before, she was going back and forth with that. She was trying to figure out what should she do, and that would be a decision that she would have to make, but she's 21. And as I told her, that's a blessing. I don't know a lot of 21-year-olds that then held their body to be virginity, because we all start somewhat at a young age, and what is too young and what is too old. And me at 15, I thought it was too young for me to be married and be into all these situations, but it happened. But I'm glad that she called me and she talked to me. So I'm supposed to be having a talk with her and the young man that she's with, but she wants to know, how could I, as a woman, be 54, haven't done anything with anybody for 10 years, and still, be okay with that? Or is there some kind of desires? There will always be desires in anything that you do, no matter how you do it. But if you're trying to make a better version of you, I felt this would make a better version of me, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the whole 9 yards. But you got to pick and choose those battles that you want to do. So I just want to tell you guys, she felt like it was a stupid question. A stupid question is the question that is unanswered or is not asked. So it's okay that you ask something, because that's what we're all here for, to grow. And I would rather have 5 to 1 person that's going to make a change from this situation and grow from it, than we have no people not having no type of change, or not having someone to support. So I really want to say, like, if it gets to the point that I could not support you, then I will appoint you somebody and talk to one of my moderators or one of my people, or Miss K, and then like structure you somewhere else to talk until I can talk to you, because we all need that voice of reason and security. So without further ado, Miss Humble Warrior is getting ready to come up. We're talking about mental health today, and you guys saw what the board of it looked like when we were talking about mental health. Mental health is not saying that you're crazy. Mental health is saying that you want to stabilize your mind to be able to be free to do other things. But when all these things are bottled up and you have no one to talk to, this is a part of mental therapy. So with further ado, let me bring Miss Humble Warrior up. Hello, Queen, and how are you today?
Hello, how are you?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I am blessed. And I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule every Thursday now to like just come and give us whatever we need to get, to get through the day, because there's a lot of people that feels like mental health is something that is makes you crazy, but it's another whole form of mental health, if you ask me.
Right. So people talk sometimes. So I'm going to talk about some of the myths and misconceptions surrounding mental health.
Okay.
And one of the things that people like to say is like folks who go to get mental health support are crazy, and folks who get mental health support are wise. They're not crazy. And folks get mental health support because of the behaviors of those who are not. Does that make sense?
That last part you say, and those who, what about the ones who do not?
So oftentimes folks are in receiving mental health treatment
Right.
because somebody else isn't. Because if you're receiving mental health treatment, right, you're behaving in a manner that is appropriate, you're behaving in a manner that is supportive. You're not spewing your pain all over other people.
Right.
So
So,
I like to say that folks are going to mental health because of somebody else who wouldn't, right?
right.
Okay. So, a myth. that mental health problems are rare. The fact is that mental health problems are more common than people realize, because I call it the captain of the ship. So, the captain of the ship that runs this thing called our bodies is our brain. Our brain, our mind, and those are words that we use synonymously, right? So people like to target, taunt, speak ill of, and these are unhealthy people. Folks that are getting mental health support and think that mental health problems are rare, but the truth is that mental health problems are common. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people worldwide will be affected by a mental or neurological disorder at some point in their lives. So that's myth 1. Myth 2, people, and these are not all the myths, these are just some that I'm going to talk about today. So, number 2, people with mental health issues are weak or lazy. That's a myth. The fact is, mental health problems are neither a sign of weakness nor are they a sign of laziness. Um, Mental health challenges are medical conditions that can affect anyone, regardless of their strength, character, or work ethic. 3, mental health problems are caused by personal weakness or character flaws. Not true. The fact is, mental health issues are complex and can be caused by a combination of genetic, biological, environmental, or psychological factors. They are not simply a result of a personal weakness or character flaw or character flaws. So let's talk about environmental. So environmentally, we live in a country that doesn't support, most of the time, folks who are who are melanated, right? And to some degree, it can appear as if these United States that we live in are very anti-black. So environmentally, that can bring about stress. Working in a workplace where um, folks are toxic, they're not behaving in a way that's professional, they're crossing boundaries, that can have an impact on you. So, people harassing you is going to have an impact on you, which, guess what? It having an impact on you is normal. What's not normal is doing the harassing. Make sense? But we live in a society that often pathologizes people being well and getting well from being stalked, harassed, traumatized, but we don't pathologize the folks who are doing the stalking, folks who are talking about you inappropriately, folks who are taunting you. Okay. Another myth, you can just, quote, snap out of it, unquote, or get over it, quote, unquote, if you have a mental health problem. The fact is, mental health issues are not something that can be easily overcome through willpower alone. They often require professional treatment, support, and self care strategies to manage effectively. So, again, if we look at some of the root causes of mental health problems and we recognize that one of them is environmental, anything that happens to you over and over and over again can be very, very stress inducing. And so responding to that in a way that relates to your mental health is normal. Um, Another myth, children don't experience mental health problems. Well, that's like saying that cars don't need engines to run, because The engine for us is our brain. And anybody that has a brain, anybody that has a mind can experience mental health problems. So the fact is, children and adolescents can and do experience mental health issues. It's essential to recognize and address mental health concerns in young people to promote their well-being and development. And let's just add a sidebar to that. So generational trauma lasts in our family lineage for up to 5 generations. So oftentimes, what we are experiencing is not just about what we are experiencing in that moment. We are bringing with us the lineage of our ancestors. Does that make sense?
Okay. Mhm.
So,
So are you saying because of certain things that it will transition through cycles and cycles of generations of the family if it's something like of a inherited moment, inheritance?
right. So here's an example. I think I've talked about this. I'm sure I've talked about this before. But what we find in the African American population is high incidence of diabetes, high incidence of um, hypertension. And that is sometimes, oftentimes, it's not connected to what we are eating right now. It can be something that we have quote unquote inherited because our ancestors were forced to eat slop. So trauma impacts us on a biological level. Okay, I'm going to keep going.
I
Oh, go ahead.
repeat that last part one more time. Trauma what?
Trauma impacts us biologically.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So here's this another myth: people with mental health issues are violent and dangerous. The fact is, the majority of people with mental health problems are not violent. In fact, individuals with mental health issues are more likely, let's listen, individuals with mental health issues are more likely to be victims of violence, more likely to be victims of violence than perpetrators.
Mm, mm.
Okay. The last one, myth: therapy is only for people with severe mental illness. Here's the fact. The fact is that therapy can be and is beneficial for a wide range of mental health concerns, from everyday stress, right? So please notice how we're talking about everyday stress is a part of mental health. So when folks call folks crazy, no. Everyday stress is a part of mental health. So again, we can benefit from therapy for a wide variety of things, to include everyday stress, relationship issues, and more severe conditions like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, racial trauma, harassment. Okay. And again, we're going to therapy, which is appropriate, to figure out and determine the best coping strategies for sometimes things that are happening to us that are inappropriate.
Right.
Okay. So therapy can help individuals, groups, families to with the development of what I just said: coping strategies, coping skills, improve self-awareness. right? So if more people went to therapy, they would be more self-aware and they wouldn't be shooting and wooding and cutting and spewing their pain on other people and enhance their overall well-being.
Is there such thing as being chemically unbalanced?
Right, great question. Absolutely.
Valerie, yes, Miss Valerie. Okay.
Absolutely. Why? Because Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So we are made up of nothing but chemicals. One of them being H2O. I'm sure you've heard that, we this amount of percentage of our body, and I'm not a biologist, is made up of H2O. So what does that mean? Mentally, we need dopamine, we need serotonin, we need norepinephrine, right? When we are under a lot of stress, we become chemically imbalanced. We may have too much or too little serotonin. We may have too much or too little vitamin D. We may have too much or too little iron if we're having a menses, right? Our serotonin levels might not be where they are meant to be. So that is indeed a chemical imbalance. And most people in the United States are a great deal are vitamin D deficient. We're not spending as much time outside. There's a lot of pesticides, preservatives, and additives placed in our food. Guess what those things are? To the person who said this, chemicals. And those chemicals, the absorption of those can cause you to be imbalanced. So our goal is to be mentally well. And being mentally well means a lot of things, but one of the first things we do is we become honest with self about self. We cannot fix something that has not been first acknowledged.
Right.
Mhm.
So that means too, like if you know you have an issue, and sometimes people want to deny it, like a predator. The predator or
Period.
predatorial will deny it. If you know, like you don't want to come to the conclusion that you are predatorial. Just as if someone harasses you, that's predatorial. That's a predator.
Mhm.
There are different type of predators walk this earth every day. It's just not a predator violating your body. It's a predator can violate your mind, your spirit, your soul. And sometimes I saw what someone said about suicide. Those type of things, if you are not in the right state of mind, could cause that reaction to make you want to take your life because you're not used to those type of things.
Right. And also, you can be mentally in pain. And so sometimes a person might feel like um, they might have what is called suicidal ideation. And it might not be because they want to necessarily die. It might be because they're tired of being mentally in pain. And this is a way that they know how to stop it, right? You have people who have been stalked, you have people who have been harassed, and they have at times ended their lives because they didn't know of any other way out.
That's crazy though. Wow. And it happens more often than we think, you guys. I hate to say that, but do you know, it's young people especially as well, there are people taking their lives every day because of someone like coming at them or bullying them or harassing them. And those type of people, like those predators that do that, the harassment, the bullying, the stalking, the domestic violence, the beating women, what are they? Is that like that is more than just being chemically,
Oh, it's definitely a chemical imbalance.
and what
It is.
else?
Well, I don't know because we would need to like sit down and assess them, right? But what we do know is that they're not taking care of themselves. They're not well because a person who is mentally well, they're not going to stalk. They're not going to taunt. They're not going to abuse. And here is this: we can be taunted, antagonized, and harassed by our family, starting
Yeah.
off thank you, starting off as children. There are women who have been, and men who have been raised by parents that antagonize them. That's an abusive parenting situation. And again, trauma lasts in our family DNA for up to 5 generations. So we may already come on this planet carrying some of the load from the people who were here before us.
So would you say someone that has these type of actions, are they sick people, individuals? I know they would need therapy themselves, but like,
Who behave in that way?
man, because Valley was just saying, she said the only way that they know how to cope, we as humans can only take but so much stress, especially from others. You know what I'm saying? Because some people don't know how to cope, but to be like they are stalking.
Right, so they're not well. And so that's why we go to therapy. Like, going to therapy teaches you how to be well. We go to school from like age 5 to age 18 most of the time. However, if you look at the curriculum, nowhere on the curriculum except for at the very beginning does it teach self-awareness. But mastery is being self-aware. So it's really, let me tell you this, I will never beat up on a bully, because A, it's easy, and B, the way that they are behaving, it's already telling the story. Just like a person who's happy, or a person who's well, or a person who's balanced. It's telling, the story is being demonstrated by their actions.
Well, why you say you wouldn't beat up on a bully? What does that mean? Why
I'm
would
not, because it's easy to do. It's easy to say that a bully is sick. It's easy to say that a bully is unwell. Like, for me, being in the profession that I'm in, it's easy for me to beat up on a bully. A bully is someone who is very, very sensitive and very, very insecure.
and that would have to come at some type of way in their environment through that. So is that why people bully and stalk and do that, because they're insecure?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Jealous. Absolutely. They're not well. They're not minding their own business. They're looking at other people and desiring it's so many reasons. It's so many reasons. But here's the truth. The truth is that a person, child, adolescent, adult who is well, they don't go around causing drama and trauma to other people. That's just not normal. If we look at how life runs itself, we look at the animal kingdom, we don't see animals going up to each other starting crap unless they need to get food or something, right? It's always by necessity. But in the animal kingdom, we don't see predatory behavior that's not happening without a reason.
And what do you call predatory behavior?
So, here's an example of predatory behavior. So, you're either prey or you're a predator. So, survival of the fittest, right? So, maybe a fly might eat an ant. That's predatory behavior, but they're doing it for the sake of survival. But to engage in predatory behavior for no reason, you're not in danger, you're not trying to save someone else. Well, that says a lot about you, doesn't it?
That you have predatory behavior because you are that.
Because you've chosen to become that.
What if a person don't know they predatory, or they don't know they're having predatory behavior?
Well, that's common because people who engage with that and that kind of behavior, they don't typically engage in therapy. They're not typically self-aware.
And so they would think it would be a normal behavior.
For them, absolutely. But if you turn that behavior around on them and you start doing to them what they've done to you, see how they scream and call you all out your name when all you've done is be what they've been.
Right. That's true. So the bullies, when you beating up on the bullies, don't be. You saying basically, don't go to the bullies, because I showed this thing that you sent me yesterday, and I put it up there right before you came on. That the text message that you sent me. Let me go back and see if I can find it right quick. Since we're talking about bullies, because it's the same thing as someone saying something of you. Where you said you got to take a rumor as a compliment. The fact that your name is being brought to the table,
Mhm.
tables you don't sit at, shows obsession.
Okay.
Same thing, you guys. Like, so don't feed into it. If someone shows, don't let them know you're about it. Don't show up with that session. Don't gain into it. Don't get into it, because you'll get wrapped all up into it, and then it's almost like you'll become a part of that lie of that energy.
And they want you to, because most of the time they're coming with you with something absurd and asinine,
Right.
and it's to throw you off. Because think about it. If you look at the animal kingdom, predator and prey, and I want to speak to this person about their feelings too, but predator and prey. So typically the predator, it might it does something to blend in so that it can attack the prey. Like the chameleon, it changes its colors. Why? Because it's getting ready to get you, to eat you. Nom, 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 nom. But we now live in a society where people have become predators, but it's not for the purpose of survival. Their odometer is off.
The odometer.
That's what I call it, because an odometer measures something.
Okay, so when you say the odometer is off, basically when it's off like that, so what is that saying? Because it's off.
So it's like if you have a stove and you don't have a fire alarm and you leave your stove on and a fire happens, you don't have any warning. There's no self-awareness.
Right.
And that's the same as these people who are raging all over the place. I call sometimes they are children in adult bodies raging all over the place. And the bigger the child, the bigger the problem. But yes, a lot of people. So here's this. So the way that society is broken up is by generations, right? So depending on what generation you came from, Miss Valerie Watkins, you probably were told not to talk about your feelings as a child. Because think about it. We have the baby boomers. Before the baby boomers, we have the silent generation. Before the silent generation, I think that was the depression. But anyway, it comes from generations before, when our ancestors were told like to not show their feelings, because them showing their feelings gave the quote unquote folks who enslaved us power. But when we know better, we do better. No, that wasn't necessarily explained. So now people just go around being stoic, not here's this, not only not knowing their own emotions, but not knowing what they're not showing their emotions, but not even knowing what their emotions are. I can't tell you how many times as a therapist I've sat with adults and I've asked them for a reason, how do you feel? And they had no idea. And you know what I do? I start off with a circle and I tell them to draw it and then become aware of what your emotions are. Because if you don't even know what your own emotions are, how can you control them?
But a predator is not going to do that circle and analyze their emotions, correct? Only a victim's going to do that.
Well, to be honest with you, beautiful, no, most people aren't going to do it willingly. But a predator is not, a predator Well, again, if you are a predator just raging out of control, you've stopped being in touch with yourself a long time ago.
Okay. And
There you
when you say raging out of control, like anything over the top things you're doing, do that means you're not in touch with your own self?
Oftentimes we're not. How many times do we have a conversation and you might not remember all of the conversation, but you were physically there because everything that they talked about, everything that they described, you know is true.
Right.
But we do this thing what's called dissociation, and more some people do it more often than others. So if you're dissociated, which means you're not in connection with what you're doing, well, you can go for a long time hurting somebody because you're not paying any attention for real.
Yeah.
You're there, but you're not there.
Mhm. And you guys got to realize if you're predatory, they're not going to care about how you feel. They're not.
Well, that's if you're a predator and you're a narcissist on top of it. Now, if you're behaving in a predatorial manner and you're not aware of it, and somebody calls you on it and you're willing to grow from it, then there's that. So we're not going to say every predator isn't willing, but those who are narcissists, they aren't.
And what is a narcissist?
Okay. So let me break it down from the beginning.
Okay.
So a narcissist is someone who has a diagnosed or undiagnosed mental health condition that is characterized by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity. So they are always making things bigger. Okay. They have a huge need for admiration. And here's this, a lack of empathy for others. Individuals with narcissistic personality disorder often have an inflated, there's the grandiosity, sense of self-importance. And here's why I say I don't bully bullies, because it's so easy. But they also have, which you can't tell because they're roaring so loud to distract you, but they have a deep need for excessive attention and admiration.
Boom. And why are they seeking attention? What's their purpose in that? They just got because of how they grew up.
There's again that we have to do research on them individually, because like if you look at, because if you watch anything about serial killers or anything about crimes, there are different variables that play into each person's life. So to answer that question, we would have to like talk to the person. But part of that need for attention is they don't like to be alone.
Really?
Because being alone means, you might reflect on your own thoughts.
Mm.
Hmm.
So
And then
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, okay, so in grandiosity, so a narcissist may have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, believing they are special, unique, or superior to others.
Mm.
Like, no shade. I'm not being shady. I'm not trying to get no shit started, because that's not who I am. But like somebody, you're working for me as an intern, and I tell you to, get up out of your bed in the middle of the night outside of duty hours and have you to go get me a piece of cheesecake. Like, that's a sense of grandiosity.
I wish I would go get somebody a piece of cheesecake in the middle of the night. Boy, I would
But
get
right,
okay.
right. Okay. So a need for admiration. Narcissists crave constant admiration and validation from others to maintain, here's this, Essie, their fragile self-esteem.
Really?
Really.
Say that again.
Need for admiration. Narcissists crave admiration and validation from others to maintain their fragile self-esteem.
Oh, so when you say fragile self-esteem, do that mean they got low self-esteem? Same
It's
thing.
worse than low. It's easily breakable.
Really?
Fragile. It's easily breakable. So somebody like you is always speaking truth and you speak it straight from the gut, from your hip. Oh, they see you as a huge threat because you're not going to think about their false ego first. You're just going to be like the kid, oh, your breath stank. Well, if somebody, okay, you got it then. You got me.
So that's too direct.
Well, that's too direct for somebody with a fragile ego.
Oh, so if you got a fragile ego and you deal somebody like me and I say something and it broke your ego, then you gonna come back at me on all type of levels because you know, like,
Exactly.
I done broke a lot of brother egos on here. I done broke a lot of sisters on here too. I didn't mean to be so direct. I thought
Right.
direct.
Right. So a lack of empathy. A narcissist, they have a difficult time if they are even able to recognize or understand. Check this out, y'all. The emotions and perspective of others, leading to lack of empathy in their interactions.
So do that mean they ain't got no empathy? They'll narcissists, predatory people, they don't have empathy at all. They don't have none of that. And they'll go at a person that's more dominating than them to try to make them feel weaker.
So it's because their ego is fragile. So just by you being quote unquote in their view perceived as better, well, that's already a challenge to them.
Because they don't like challenges. Narcissists don't like you to challenge them.
No, their ego is too fragile.
Why y'all gotta be all fragile with the shit? You know what I'm saying? Won't you
That's
just...
why, have you noticed a lot of celebrities, especially those ones that get into trouble?
Yeah.
What do you always hear the media say? They had a lot of yes men around them.
Yeah. Rocker obviously, Essie, you're very direct, blunt, and truthful. So me being direct, blunt, and truthful made people want to come at me on a negative level. And
no, that's not it. It's just that there might have been a moral injury where they thought that they were handsome and you looked at them and said something like "chaba," like just something in passing. You may not even know what it is. It might have been, well, you had a piece of bubble gum on the bottom of your shoe, or it's just that anything that is not in agreement with them, they see it as a screaming, raging opposition. That's why you think, anybody ever see the Mommy Dearest? Anybody ever see that?
I thought that no wire hanger.
Now check this out. When did she go into the daughter's room to scream no wire hangers? When did she go in there?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, I do. She went in there at night when everybody was asleep, when she was alone.
So what does that mean? Because she did that.
She don't like being alone.
Oh, okay.
With her own thoughts. So she went and stirred some crap up. But also pay attention to how this isn't just necessarily the best words, but it's the only words I can think of now. But how the alleged, there's the word, how the alleged crime didn't match the punishment. So wire hangers equated to physical violence, make it make sense.
Right.
Okay. You got me?
Something happened probably with a wire hanger. You just don't really never know. But on a psychological level, certain things can transition to people's mind. That's back what Miss Valerie said. there is something about our generation, the other generation as well, but I know black, that they were, you don't talk about what you feel, don't say nothing, you know what I'm saying? And maybe if they had talked about her at that time or somebody talked to her, she wouldn't have had an issue with wire hangers, you know? And but that goes back to children when they're younger. All these reflections where you say children can't be mentally beat down to grow up into this, because you're not born a narcissist, correct?
Absolutely correct.
How do you become a narcissist if you're not born a narcissist?
Well,
Right.
it's those initial interactions.
Right.
Those initial interactions.
So you got to realize anything, like even when people say hate, you're not born to hate people. So that's something that your reaction somewhere along the line has picked up. And is it like narcissists? They're fragile. Okay, we got you fragile. Essie, you don't need to be so strong because you bruising a lot of
No,
people.
that's not true. Nobody said that.
No,
Nobody said you.
that's what they want me to be. That's what the narcissist will want me to be, though. Not
But
strong, right?
right, but it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with them, because if their ego weren't so fragile, if they worked more, if they did more of taking care of themselves,
Mhm.
you would be a non-factor.
If they did more to take care of themselves, then I would be a non-factor. So
Right. Who are you in competition with, Essie?
I'm not in competition with nobody. I don't think.
Boom. But a narcissist is in competition with everybody. That's why I asked you that question.
Oh,
It's
and
a
with,
competition that you don't even know about.
oh, so he could be in competition with himself, won't even know it.
Well, he ain't in competition with them, or she. They aren't in competition with themselves, because if they were in competition with themselves, they wouldn't be paying attention to you.
Correct. Okay, got it. So there's nothing you can stop a narcissist. How can you stop a narcissist?
Well, you can stop feeding them.
And how do you stop feeding a narcissist? Listen, my people.
Well, we talked about this earlier about uh, giving them attention.
Mm-hmm.
You decide not to give them any more attention.
Okay, y'all. Got you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got you.
So narcissists, one of the things they have difficulty with criticism. Narcissists may react defensively or aggressively to criticism, as they have a fragile self-esteem and cannot handle perceived threats to their self-image.
So they want you to tell the truth about them.
Well, a narcissist wants you to hold on to the lie. Just like if you come from a foul home situation and you go back home and visit and you're doing well, and your parent is talking about how or you're talking about how some things didn't work out the way that you thought they would have, and the parent may get very defensive and lie, and it's like you didn't even live there, because they have created sometimes a lie that they haven't even shared with other people, because if they share it with other people, then other people will be like, well, that's a lie. So you can't even compete.
They're attention whores. The two ladies on the panel, either one of you want to ask? We sticking to this subject about this, the mental health and these types of situations. Anybody want to ask a question?
I just want to say hello. This is Miss K. I
Hey,
just
Miss
want
K.
I just want to say hello to you. You're doing a good job. I got my mic off. I'm over here talking to myself. Yep, that's it. That's it. So yeah,
Thank you.
um, it's just things that we have to work on for ourselves. And if you don't work on it, then that's your world. But you have to be careful, people, male and female, when you run across people. If they show you them, believe that's them.
Period.
That's what you do. You don't have to take anything from nobody. I don't care if you've been married to them for 20 years. Let it go. Because the next thing you know, it's going to be an argument. And a narcissist And you were right about that. I used to date a guy. I used to date a guy, and he, it was always about him. And that don't work with me. Not that I'm arrogant about myself. Yeah, if you're in a relationship, it should be about the both of us. So I let him go. He didn't understand why. And that's when I start asking questions with him. What happened to you as a kid? And
Okay.
come to find out his mama left him and his brother in an apartment. She had left, rent was due, and the grandparents had to go get them. So that right there is something that he never forgot. And he's like that still today. I see him, I speak, and go on by my business. But yeah, that's just how they are. If they don't get help for themselves, I don't care what type of relationship they call themselves. If they not, if they haven't been treated, it's just a losing battle. He got married about maybe 6 7 months ago. My thing is, why you calling me? See, I didn't take no mess from him. I called him out. He was always upset, but he never tried nothing negative, like fighting and, I'm gonna get you, that old silly stuff. He didn't try it with me, but I've heard him doing it with, that he have done it with other females. But I don't know what it is. I guess, I'm a challenger. I'm gonna stop you in your tracks. I'm not gonna allow you to disrespect me because I'm not gonna disrespect you.
Mhm.
So if it's like that, I go on by my business. So every time I see him, he speaking, but he's still the same person. Had nothing changed, and that's been over 20 years ago.
Right, because see, they don't grow and evolve. Let me
Uh-huh.
share something with you all, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Um, it's a very quick story that I've helped that I've utilized and continue to utilize in my personal life and um in my practice. So a grandfather is talking with his grandson. The grandfather says, in life, there are two wolves inside each of us, which are always at battle. One is a good wolf, which represents things like kindness, bravery, and love. The other is a bad wolf, which represents things like greed, hatred, and fear. The grandson stops and thinks about it for a second. Then he looks up at his grandfather and says, "Grandfather, which one wins?" The grandfather replies, "The one you feed." So I brought that up because you talked about something that happened in this individual's childhood,
Yes.
and that may be true. However, it's still a choice.
Yeah, it is.
It's still very much of a fucking choice, and that's me as a professional who
Mm-hmm.
is cursing because I'm passionate about that.
Right. Right.
Humanity is humanity. It's just like arguing about racism.
Yes.
Humanity is freaking humanity, bro.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And see, that's the thing about it. If you've been this way all your life, and his grandparents had him after the mother did what she did,
Mhm.
and then he started taking on his granddaddy's leadership, the way he talked to his grandmother, and I used to have to stop and look, boy, watch your mouth. That's your grandma.
Mhm.
So
Ooh. Somebody
yeah,
said, "Is there help for narcissists?" That yeah, there's
it
help for
is.
everybody. But the first thing though, you have to before we can fix anything, we have to admit there's a problem. You know, I catch Ubers quite a bit, and we have these fancy behind cars that the the steering wheel and the dashboard will tell you every freaking thing that's going on with that car, right? But do you know there are some people who will drive around, and I'm not calling nobody out, I'm not judging anybody. There are some people who will drive around with their check engine light on as if that's a part of the car, or check brakes light, or and that's the exact same way people engage in their everyday life. Everybody ain't willing to check their check engine light when they see it comes on.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't willing to check their tire pressure when they see that that comes on. So can narcissists get help? Absolutely. But first they have to admit there's a problem.
Yes. Yes.
And the problem is not somebody else.
No.
The
No.
problem is not the person you've been stalking for 50, 11 years. The problem is you
Yeah.
for even
Yeah.
thinking that stalking somebody was appropriate.
And that's the thing. They don't think. And you know, I just peeked that out of, you know, what I've been going. I went with him. Like I said, he never got out of hand with me. You know, because I checked him on time. You know, you get rowdy with me, I get rowdy with you. Now what we gonna do with this?
Right.
You know, don't do that. Don't never disrespect anybody.
Mhm.
You know, but there are some people need to be checked. And that's how it was with him. But I knew that's not what I wanted for a lifetime. So
Period.
I cut the rope. I'm not with it, baby.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not. But I want to ask you about the bullying part.
Mhm.
Um, he's like I said, he gotten remarried, and I don't even think that. I think about 8 months they've been together. And you know how people talk. You know, around here in Fort Worth, people talk. You know, and the word is that he she got to get up an hour before he do to get ready for work.
Mhm.
And I guess she's talking to someone, you know, friends or what have you. And I myself, I don't understand stuff like that. I feel like everybody is an individual, and you the one going to work, so you need to be up on time. You need to make sure all your stuff is ready. I do your lunch, I do your breakfast, but that's it. I don't have to do nothing. That's the way I see it. So he, you know, he's doing that with her. And like I said, you know, we stay in a, it's not a real small town, but we're here. And you know how people talk. And I just don't understand. But he a cool dude with me. You know, we
Because
laugh.
here's the truth. We teach people how to treat us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that is true. That's true. And you know, the bullying and you know, the narcissistic thing that my first husband, my only husband, he was a narcissist. And growing up in that family, he was like the king. You know, whatever he did, he was everything was fine. You know, he did the basketball, played in the band, all that mess. So we got married. He was in the military. We moved to Memphis, Tennessee. And I saw some things in him I wasn't comfortable with. So I, you know, approached him and say, look, I don't like your attitude. You know, when you're around your friends, you try to show out. And I said that, man, because I go through things too. You know, hey, I chose to work on me. So because I know my family wasn't a bad family, but there was things that happened. You know, I never had a childhood. I had to be grown before my time, but that's because my mother was working.
Mhm.
You know, we had to do that. I'm 60. So, you know, that's my time growing up. You know, we do
Right.
things
So it
different.
sounds like you were parentified, and it sounds like you have always taken on the role of being responsible in your relationships with
Yes,
people.
yes. And
Mhm.
you're right about that. And that's well said because I had, you know, I just felt like I had 3 kids and I feel like that one ain't mine. He didn't come for me. I don't have to be with him. That's my husband, my ex-husband.
Right.
So, you know, I'm gone. I got my boys. We moved back to Fort Worth and we've been here ever since.
Right.
You know, so
So,
yeah.
but so I just wanted to point out that
Okay.
um some of the things that you said, I wanted to point out, like if you notice, you and Essie have some things in common.
Yes, we
Y'all
do.
are straightforward. Y'all are responsible. You guys give a crap about other people.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? You are the narcissist's wet dream.
I'm his wet dream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Narcissists love people that show up this way. But just like spam,
Mhm.
And just like those 1-800 calls we used to get back in the day, you don't have
Uh,
to answer every call that comes.
right. If it doesn't sit well with me, I'm not gonna be in a relationship. Years go on, and I felt like in order for him to know and to try to grow and to straighten himself out, he need to know the truth.
Right. But let me also be clear.
Okay.
We've talked about like nice narcissists today.
Mhm.
We've
Mhm.
talked about nice narcissists. But
Mhm.
if we look at everything that's happening in the news, this day of
Oh
reckoning,
man.
we
Yeah.
know that there are ruthless
Mhm.
narcissists too. And
Mhm.
so a ruthless narcissist who has power, money, influence,
Mhm.
what do you
Mhm.
think they can do to someone? They can
Oh
literally
yeah.
unravel their freaking life.
They sure can. They sure can. But see,
Mhm.
my thing is with him, he well to do, but you can't buy me. And I've always stuck to that. From my great grandmother telling us stories about when she was, growing up and in slavery, and how, we part Indian, and, different things. My people was talkers. They didn't hold nothing back from us, you
Mm.
know. And that's what she would say, and I would remember that, and I was like, no, you can't buy me. I got your money a different color from mine. Well, shoot,
So
mine green.
I'm going to answer this question for your ugly cousin. Um, I love that
Okay.
name. So my narcissistic family members turned against me, and now I have a family of confused people. That's beautiful. I'm going to tell you why. How do I break the curse? You've already started breaking the curse. That's why you have a family full of confused family members. And by you deciding that you are not going to follow along with the typical family constitution, you've already shaken shit up and started to change the DNA. Narcissistic abuse, it absolutely can kill you. And that's why it's important to make sure that you protect yourself and go no contact if necessary. Miss Essie, what's going on with you? I haven't heard from you in a minute.
Oh, I'm just back here listening and paying attention to what you guys are saying.
Okay.
I'm at the whole thing and just make sure I don't miss no comments, because I know people are tuning in because of that. So I'm just trying to make sure I get their comments in as well, and really just listen to what you're saying about the bullying and what this girl just said too, um, about narcissist abuse can kill you, and
It
that's
absolutely can, because stress can kill you.
she say stay aware. She said her
Hmm.
officer Steve. I think someone some kind of way we all have some type of narcissistic people in our boundaries in our circles, but we have to know when to depart ourselves. And these
Hmm.
sessions right here can really help that out. And I think a couple people said thank you for that too, because it's acknowledging our truth and letting us have a way to be able to express ourselves without seeing like we were saying we're crazy. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people think that this is crazy. So she's basically saying to you guys, whether it's a bully, whether someone's stalking you or harassing you, do not feed into it. Because the more you feed into it, it's ammunition to their soul to
Hmm.
come for you. It makes them get off when they see
Hmm.
that they're bothering you. It gets them off when they feel like you're paying attention, because as she said, that's a fragile part of them because their ego is bruised. So that's the only thing they can do to come out and go like that. And when you don't acknowledge and you don't pay attention, this is when they come for you like 20 times harder.
Hmm.
Miss Carol, you want to say anything? I guess she's not there. Miss Carol? Oh, let me see. Miss Carol, well, hold on.
I
Hold on.
forgot to unmute my mic. I apologize.
Is anything you need to ask?
Yes, I wanted to say a few things. First of all, I'm a trauma patient, and you spoke on predatory behavior. Um, Being a trauma, having experienced trauma, led me to the predatory behavior. I was dependent upon um, how am I supposed to be doing this here? Am I supposed to be doing what other people say I should be doing? How should I be doing it in this order? Or I had to go through different mind changes and stuff. And
Mhm.
it came to the point to where I had to say, okay, look, I can't depend on other people telling me how to think, how not to think, what to say, what not to say, and stuff. So I had to come to the point of discovering my own unique self and what is it that I want to do in this world, and stop following the herd mentality.
Mhm.
Also, you just spoke of we teach people how to treat us.
Mhm.
Well, in my situation, experiencing trauma, I had to like the my physician told me, my neurologist told me, once I came home, um, is that I had to start over like a brand new baby. I had to be taught everything all over again. Well, my experience, long and short, is when I came home, my dad um, had dementia, and my mother had to take care of him. So that took away right there me being taught. Okay, I have four other siblings. They went on with their lives. So that took away. It's like, I'm here. Okay, how am I going to learn how to live this life? How I'd have to deal with everything as is everyone else. So I was able, you can't do this by yourself. So I had to pray on it, and I reached out for help. I reached out for help in the medical field, and I reached out for help personally. And I ran across this young lady, and she really, really is helping me on my journey. So my point is, try not to stand alone. It's okay to accept the fact that, hey, I need help, and then get help. And the person that helped me personally was our beautiful queen, Miss Essie Berry. And again, to you, I want to say thank you. And thank you for coming on the platform, therapist. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. And this is what I want to make sure I want to point out. Me being a therapist is a job. It's a job that I chose. It is a job of heart, HERT work and compassion. But here's this, just because this is my job, it doesn't mean that I have it all together. So I am a therapist with a therapist. And being a therapist doesn't mean that you have it all together. Being a therapist means that I know how to utilize coping strategies. But
Mhm.
life happens to me or any other therapist just like it happens to anyone else.
Right.
We don't have a raincoat or a condom that we can put on that's going to keep us from it. And here is the truth. Like, I'm going to be real honest about this. Stalking people, assaulting people, bullying people, being cruel to people in places where you get the free range, if you will, to shock them because they were expecting something different, it can lead to people ending their lives. It can lead to a person having suicidality and suicide completion. Can I say those things, Essie?
Of course, this is unscripted,
Oh,
so
I'm just making sure for the sake of the channel or whatever.
with the
Um,
truth, it's all the truth.
it also can lead to people having substance abuse issues, drinking too much, eating too much, screwing too much. It can lead to people Because it can leave a person feeling desperate when you have someone who is hunting you. And if you think about it, we're not really supposed to be hunted. Now we might have played um hide and go seek
That
when we
is
were younger, but none of us felt as if we were being as if a predator was upon us. You know, we felt like we were having a good time with our friends. So I hope that people are aware of like taking care of you, being honest with you. That's our only requirement on this planet. And when we are our best version of us, then we can be that to other people.
I agree.
But going full fledged harassing people, which is what some people do, part of one of the reasons why I haven't revealed my identity, but I will be, is because I worked in a toxic work environment as a federal employee. And I thought about this earlier today and yesterday because I was thinking about what I was going to share with you all. And I have experienced, not on my own caseload, but I've experienced workplace peers who felt so beaten up that they believed that ending their life was the only answer.
Mm,
And that's not a sign of weakness. It's a cry of pain. It's a cry of pain. And so what we get to decide to do, all the people who are like listening now and the people who will listen later, we can decide to partner together and be a force of good. If you see something, say something. Don't be the kind of people to carry trash, meaning talking, speaking ill of other people and bringing it back to people because that shit hurts. Be protective of your sister. Be protective of your brother. Be protective of your friends.
I agree so wholeheartedly. And you guys, this whole situation, even as an activist, I'm up in therapy as well. So you got to really pay attention at any time. If something transpires and you up under therapy, and if you really want to get someone, they can be brought up on charges, especially if they know you up under therapy, disabled, just sit up there bully you. You can be brought up on charges. Period.
And also be wise because yeah, it takes a long time for great empires, quote unquote, because they're not really great. But it takes a long time for empires that have wealth to fall.
Mm,
But as we can see, the day of reckoning is gonna come. It's going to come.
period. Whether it's now, later, but it's all on God's time. I bet people didn't see Diddy coming down.
Miss Nebraska, that professor who decided to check out, I can relate to her. I consider her to be a peer. And she didn't end her life, quote unquote, over her white boss. She ended her life because we are supposed to be, this is after the antebellum. We are supposed to be free. But sometimes you go to work and people call you out of your name, even in your professional workplace setting. If you look at that sister who did end her life, you can see she had an autoimmune disease, alopecia, hence her not having hair, which isn't always about perms and braids, it's about stress. So she was continuing to show up at a workplace where she was probably overqualified while people continued to engage in microaggressions. What does that do to a person over time? It causes you to alienate yourself. It causes you to not feel good about yourself. Got it. I see. I see. But yeah, her Miss Nebraska, I see. But her ending her life, I understand. And I pray that it wasn't in vain. Because as a Black woman going into white spaces, or spaces where they think that they're supposed to be white, we shouldn't have to feel unsafe. And especially, I was watching Freaknik, and I'm going to add this, and I'm going to be quiet because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here tonight. But I watched Freaknik, and this is the part of Freaknik that got me. Excuse me. There was a girl who talked about how men had just come upon her and was trying to like pull all her clothes off and all. Like, at what point, because we can, at what point as Black women are we going to lock up arm in arm and decide that we ride for each other, and we get up at dawn and burn bridges that are harming us intentionally? Like, what if we didn't just wait for one person to stand up? What if we all stood up together? Like,
Amen.
what if these people had stood up together that are saying that Sean Combs did this? What if they, in their whisperings, had have decided that no matter how dangerous he is, or how dangerous I perceive him to be, I perceive me not being honest with me about this situation to be of more danger, and therefore I'm going to lock arms with Essie, and we're going to fight this together. What if we built more unions and situations like that? Just a thought.
I
Well,
think it's
that's a good thought.
a very good thought, excellent thought if you really want to know the truth, because
Mm.
we have more of that, especially in our race and our culture. Welcome, Miss Nebraska. We missed you for sure. Tony, you as well. Blesses Miss Sheila and your ugly cousin. That's
Ah,
my
I love that name.
you.
yes.
I
Yeah.
myself, I like the thought of that. I think like this today was like well needed of us as Black women for sure, because
Mhm.
we go through so much. And look at that sister took her life because of probably what something that could have been resolved if she had had more powerful sisters or more powerful people standing with her than leaving her alone. It's a hard feeling. And I'm gonna be honest with you. My situation, I would say, is a little different. It's not different, but it is. Just me as an individual, how I reflect and deal with things. Because join me, believe it. All these women on the platform, I've called them and they had a bad day, straight up. You know what I'm saying? But I can't let my day reflect on me not standing as who I know God should make me be. Now, what we need to do now is to create that group of women that we all carry that courage, that strength, that that everyday like strength and being a warrior for each other, because there's so many women falling short, and all they need is just someone to kind of help pick them back up. And somewhere along the line, I'm not sure where it came from, doctor, but where did it come from on the line that we as Black women just start dogging each other and drop that ball, that we just got beneath everybody and nobody even heard our voice? I'm not sure when that changed. Was it when the rap music came in and when it was okay for men to call women bitches, sluts, and whores? Or did it come in when we allow men to beat us and put their hands on us, and then you stayed into that relationship? Or did it come when we continue to let people do the things they do? So like she said, like Miss Cassie now stood up. That one voice triggered a whole bunch of other things behind that. It's bad that it took this long, but look how it took. So people who have money and power and wealth, and some they be broken, disrespectful too. They think they can have that type of mentality, but if we try to stop it, but if we continue to let it grow and go, they're gonna keep letting it go and grow. If we stand up together and start uniting and saying what it is, because it don't take a lot of women to do it. It don't take a lot of men to do it. It just takes the loyalty of what you say and start standing by it and doing it. Like when they hit that million man march, I've yet to see a woman yet.
Well, I ask you this? Um, we you're asking for us to stand for people, and I'm not being disrespectful or what. My thing is, when you gonna stand for yourself?
Well, that's a given.
Yeah, exactly. My thing is, if I see you doing If you see it as a problem and you standing up for, okay, I don't have no problem going in, but I'm not finna go in and stand up for you if you not gonna do it. I'll be there for
Well,
you.
nobody's asking that though. We're gonna let's come at this from a strengths-based perspective. So let's assume
Hmm.
that the women that we are locking arms with are
Hmm.
the Shirley Chisholms and the Maya
Okay. Oh
Angelou's and the Lorraine Hansberries and the Billie Holidays. Like, let's assume that we are locking arms with the versions of those women on this day. We're not talking about going and uh, being with folks who ain't trying to be about the business of
yeah.
taking care
Okay.
of themselves.
Okay. That's why I asked, because it's, it's a lot of that out there too. But it's both of them out there. But I have no problem standing. Miss Essie can tell you that I have no problem doing it. I done been through a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot, and I had to calm myself down and talk to God for years. And that's how I am able to say, hey, I'm in love with me,
And should be.
and that's it for me. Far as relationships and stuff like that, I'm a good mother. My boys show that. You sit back, you get the kids, you build the kids up, and you tell them, the right way to go and stuff like that, and then you just sit back and see what they do with it. That's what I did. And that's both of them have college degrees. My baby boy went off to Prairie View A&M. That was the most sickening
All right.
time for me because my baby has never left me. But I handled it. But yes, it was something. But I am more than happy to get together as a strong woman and lock our arms together, speak
Mhm.
what we want to speak. Say what we have to say, not what we want to say, what we have to say to them. Because let's face it, a lot of guys haven't been taught.
A lot of, not just guys, a lot of women ain't been taught.
Well, yeah,
A
but
lot of men or women, because I'm gonna say this, Miss Kate, and to everybody on this platform. What if I was that same person that I did not reach, that I did not stand? Like, I wouldn't be on this platform today. For the stuff that people seeing on the internet, we just having a conversation. I get
mhm,
down behind closed doors. I get down with people I don't even know their first or their last name until I get into that case. Why should I embed myself in a case and I don't even know you? Because the same people who didn't know us back in the day, who embedded their race and their case into these situations, we are here now to do that. I think that's what
Mhm.
I stand for. Because there was a whole lot of people that know me. I ain't know Martin Luther King. I ain't know Malcolm X. I ain't know Harriet
Right.
Tubman. I didn't know Rosa Parks. I didn't know none of those people, but those people didn't know us, and they put their nose in their business where it didn't belong. So that's what I feel like. Me as an activist, I know now that
Mhm.
I have to pick and choose my battles, but there cannot be a sister or brother, not of race, because I fight for respect. I don't just fight for, people say black race. I'm going to stand for my black race, but there is something that you have to give unconditionally. Like when people say they sow their ties, me helping people, that to me is sowing my ties with God.
Amen.
My time back to some people who don't have a voice, because maybe it's not that they don't know how to fight, maybe they ain't been taught how to fight. I wasn't taught how to fight, I was born to fight. There's a difference. I believe that I was born to do this, because why am I
Amen.
like this? But it had to be structure of certain things that I went through, and after I was abused as a child, I vowed that I would never let someone just shut me down or be quiet, because if your parent can silence you, anybody can. I was
Mhm.
that person for that minute until I started having to evolve in the person that I am. Because I know she said, Warrior said that you evolve into something else, and when you get a certain age, you have a choice. I have a choice if I pick up my phone. I have a choice if I feel like I want to battle. I got a choice if I want to really take my life. And I'm not saying that people don't. I had that choice, but as an activist, I have to be real. One time in my life, when I was going through all this, Steve, I did call a suicide hotline, but straight up, take
Good
it
for you.
if you want to take it. I was not getting ready to kill myself. One, two, three. Again, I called a suicide hotline, but I was not going to kill myself. But I was going to start packing my bags and hire anybody who needed to know something. One
Mhm.
God had to talk me down, because at that time I was like, okay, these people think they playing with somebody of a different level. I'm that and more, but I know my voice, my characteristics, my writing, my fighting would give me more credibility than sitting up there trying to go for somebody. Because, like, if I do something, I feel like I would want to take your life, then that means I'm gonna take your life, but I'm gonna do the crime and I'm gonna do the time, and I'm not gonna mind doing it. So I decided at a young age to not allow someone to take my voice, to join forces on women who have been through what I've gone through. Or I see a sister struggling, your baby got abused, is that right? Let me stand for you because you didn't know how to. Let me go get this piece of paper for you because you don't know how to ask for it. Let me walk into the police station because I really don't care about you having badges or blue suits, because you're just another form of KKK. Not everybody, but if I'm talking to you, I'm just saying it that way. So we just have to learn too as people, because we all had that thing, and I get it, because sometimes even on cases, which I've had to walk away from several cases, which I'll discuss later on, I'm not gonna fight your case harder than you fight for your case.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm gonna help you win. If God bring you to me to win a case, then I'm gonna win that case for you. He ain't just bring it to me because I'm gonna walk away, because I'm in it to win it. But if I'm on a case and I gotta write 2 or 3 papers, and you ain't write nothing, okay, this how I am in 2024. I
Yeah.
got people that's calling me, they're working their cases now. I'm showing them how to win a case. I'm showing them how to be an activist. So you will have to go through these things again. That's what it's about. It's about winning. I like to win. I don't lose on nothing. I'm not going to lose in this situation. God just brought it a different way now. It's a different level. And I'm uniting with strong, powerful women. And I believe that something's taking place that God knew greater was going to come to any of us. Because look at the powerful sister warrior. You, Miss K, you, Miss Carol, Miss Nebraska, Valerie, all y'all. It's some powerful stuff going on. But I just want to say, nah, I don't want to help you if you don't want to help yourself. I'm with Miss K.
Exactly.
You want to
Exactly.
write with you gonna sign some papers and I tell you what to write and we go back and forth. We can do that. But child, I'm trying to get my life too. I'm trying to stay cute too. So I want y'all to know, like, I don't want you to work my nerves behind your case. But if you ready to step up and you ready to win this race,
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm just gonna tell y'all this too. I talked to you the other day about a guy named Nigel. You don't know his last name, it doesn't matter. He's been in jail pretty much 4 years for some stuff he didn't do. God is so awesome that he's working with us now, that we're able to deal with the public defender. They gonna let me help get this baby free. I don't
Okay.
I ain't seen this boy, but he said, yes, we want you to help get him free. 30 years old, that could be my black baby sitting behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grandmother said that she knew when she knocked on that door and called me what it was gonna be, because God don't send me in nothing to lose. He sent me in it to win. So know that my reputation is the reputation that God gave me, because
Mhm.
I like the battle. And I have to be honest, when you do little slick stuff or you want to bully me and you come at me, like, y'all better go and sit down, because I'm Southern hospitality. I can walk it and I can talk it and I can do. I'm destroying all of you. Remember that for sure. I rest my case, ladies.
Well, I appreciate you guys' time. I think that we do need to discuss creating some type of a coalition. Um, like there's Mothers Against Drunk Drivers.
Mhm.
There's, but some type of a coalition, because it's narcissistic to think that you are an anomaly. There are women who, like, some people, you just don't have the words. If you knew where I came from, which you will at some point, because I've written a book, you will be shocked. People make assumptions about where I came from, not realizing that I am God made. Like, I am God made, because I had a mother who really didn't give a F about me. She was very antagonistic. I learned how to do things like change my sanitary napkin and stuff from reading a
Mhm.
book.
Mm.
Okay.
Wow.
So I know that I am a miracle. And here's the beauty. that which I know to be the creator doesn't discriminate, is absolutely no respecter of persons. So
That's
I
true.
definitely want to put my hand out to show others what somebody might not have taught them. We always say common sense. People don't have common sense, but let's dispel that. Common sense ain't common because all of us weren't raised the same.
Correct.
Right.
So common sense ain't common. So let's enter into situations healthy with curiosity instead of with preconceived ideas and judgment. That's how racism happens too, because people enter into stuff with preconceived ideas and stereotypes. Let's not do that. With my clients, I call it Uncle Ruckusing yourself. Let's not Uncle Ruckus ourselves.
When she said that about the book, I did the same thing. So that's why I think women come and we blend together. Because I had to not read a biology book to get pregnant. I had never been intimate with nobody. I was cool with my kid's father. I didn't want to really have sex, but I was scared that my grandmother was going to try to sell me to an old man and get away with it. So I was like, if I'm just going to give my body to a dirty old man, I might read a biology book and got pregnant after that because I want to know how long it takes, what you got to do. And I know all the way down to the ovulation. It's true what they break down. 14 days after your cycle, your ovulation, 10 to 14 days. If you sleep with a man, 10 to the 14 day. So your cycle go out the day. This is the 10th day. From this day to that 14 day, that's your ovulation cycle. You can get pregnant. I'm telling you, I did it on the first try and it happened. As a 15-year-old girl, I should not have had to study a book to figure out how to get pregnant in order to not to get locked up in the system or in order to not make sure no old man is not going to sleep with me. That is how I was able to hold my body for 10 years. If y'all really want to be true about it, I was never supposed to be in the situation I was in. I do love my sons. I do love my children, but I read a biology book to have sex and get pregnant at 15. It doesn't matter what it sounds like. It matters what happened. So me as a woman now and looking back then, would I have still been a virgin? Probably so. I may have got some busy somewhere in there, but I was forced into a situation because I had no way out. So to hold my body pure for 10 years, I could have did that at 15 if I had a choice. I didn't have a choice or a voice. I have both now.
Mhm.
That's a deep way of looking at that. Even when you get abused psychologically, you don't know certain things that you went through until they transpire. So we really don't understand our parents. When we reflect back on that, you had a way of changing us some kind of way. If I had a thought that I could not been sold to old men, I would have never read a biology book. I love my children, but I wouldn't have been pregnant. I'm not gonna lie and say that, but it came to a point in desperation that it seemed like my grandmother wanted money and wanted to use me to get that. And that was scary to me. So, like I said, I read a biology book and got pregnant. So I feel like no matter how high my sexual drive may be, it didn't really matter because I know who I needed to be. And I didn't want to keep being around people and misusing my body because you feeling good and you like me for that. Because ain't no man walked away from me, divorced me. I divorced them. And I'm not saying it was no bad thing with any of them. I just had a voice and a choice. I didn't have that then. I have a voice and the choices keep me pure until I decide what man I want to be with. If I want to be a 20,000, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's my body. But I chose to do this for myself. And if I chose to do this as a grown woman, I would have had that choice as a little girl, but it wasn't given to me. So know, like when you have certain situations that you go through, if you can, and we have that group that we're talking about, that will help people like make the right decisions. I cannot tell you what to do. I can tell you what I would do, but at the end of the day, it's your choice and your decision. Whatever you do, whoever you deal with, how you handle the situation, it's all gonna go reflect back to you. That's me for today, you guys. I just want to say that.
Well, I appreciate you all's time. I hope that the myths versus facts about mental illness was helpful. Um, are there any questions for me? I'm gonna wrap up.
I'm going down now, making sure.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me.
Right. you, Miss Carol, you and Miss K for joining me too. I'm gonna pull y'all down, okay?
All right. All right.
Love y'all.
Thank you.
Miss Warrior, I really do appreciate you for today and everything that you have brought to the table. You definitely bring a different type of light to this whole situation, and I think it's going to help us as women more. I'm not sure of the diversity of the people that follow me, but I know I have a lot of older Black women and young and other men and women as well. So for that, I hope that we learn something of knowledge on here. I really appreciate you joining me, and we're going to be doing this every Thursday. Am I correct, sweet?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next week, but if y'all got any suggestions too, I'll forward her the email so you guys can check it out, or I'll send it to her so we can get on those too. But we're going to try to make this an every Thursday thing. That was good that Miss K enlightened us on what she said, and Miss Carol. Those type of things, just that little bit of conversation back and forth, that goes a long way and helps people for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. You got anything else to say before I remove you down? You're good?
Just how about this week we work on being aware of our emotions and being able to name them?
And that's what we're going to come back with Thursday?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we'll say it again. We need to be what?
Let's work on being aware of our emotions and being able to name them.
So we're gonna come back, and so we experience something. We're gonna say what emotion we experienced,
Yeah.
and we name it. We should be able to have a name for that experience or the name.
That emotion. Because some people don't know when they're feeling sad. Some people don't know when they're feeling happy.
Right, right. I get it. You guys, y'all got that? We're gonna talk about emotions and how to, I guess, deal with them. So check out y'all emotions. I just got on the phone with somebody not too long ago. I told people to check it out. We in emotions. We in a certain, like, we finna come into another transition in the world. So just like we have periods and we get ugly times, whether y'all know it or not, the world has ugly times too. Transitions. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Mercury retrograde. If you want, you should look it up for yourself. It's not saying that you have to believe it, but just look up Mercury retrograde. We're getting ready to come into Mercury retrograde right now. It says you're not supposed to be like signing contracts, doing certain kind of things or anything like that. So in doctor, anytime you want to pull off, you can if you need to. It's saying that basically that you're supposed to like kind of step down for a moment, because so many things are transitioning in the world. Just like we're getting ready to have an eclipse on the 8th. We don't know how that's going to affect the world, or what's it going to say, or what's going to happen. They say it's going to happen over one way, it could happen another. So we all need to be aware of what we feel and how we feel, and then how we truly do things. I think all that's going to make a difference. And this with mental therapy and how we're doing this, like you're able to ask questions and be able to do what you need to do, and on another scale or another level, that you got someone that's professional enough to be able to ask those questions for you. Okay. Again,
Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you, sis.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Can't wait to see you next week.
Okay,
And
please.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna run the rest of you guys' comments down right quick. I hope y'all enjoy this. I hope it helps someone. Now, I would say videos like this, I would like for you to subscribe. Share, subscribe, send it to someone, because then they'll know. Like every Thursday, we doing mental health. I'm not on this platform to make money. If I was doing it, I'd be flipping out videos 24/7. I just like to let you keep up on things that's going on. The young lady that came yesterday, she made a big impression on me. And the young lady I saw earlier that she started joining us. You know what? Sometimes when you think you got negative energy and people doing negative comments towards you, is actually showing people the ignorance of that other person, like she just said, and it's really helping you. So it hasn't hindered me, you guys. Anybody putting out anything negative on me is making people reflect and look more at what's really going on. Sometimes when you think something is a negative, it can be a positive working in your way, and you really don't know it. Every morning by 9 o'clock, I release something, some type of clip, whether who is about, what it's about. I know people don't wrote me about Diddy. We're going to talk more about that. I did hear today, though, that he said anybody that the went to Diddy parties, been affiliated with him, or they think that they may know that he knows something, they need to start getting lawyers. I done seen a lot of people shake Diddy hand, and a lot of these men up here smiling all in Diddy face. They said anybody who's affiliated with Diddy, they may need to get a lawyer. Yeah, I ain't gonna call no names, but we'll talk about it tomorrow and recap for sure. What she say? Oh, she was beautiful, isn't she? I'm enjoy this therapy thing. And then too, we've been doing a lot of stuff on Sundays with the guys. I'm loving that the guys are stepping up. Pastor Doolittle, Reverend Doolittle will be this weekend with the rest of the guys. I know it's gonna be John, Fred, and whoever else want to join them. Or Right Cross, Raymond, I think. And what I'm gonna start doing, I'm gonna start chopping some of it up and some of the positive stuff, which the whole Sunday is positive. But I'm gonna do that like a Tuesday thing. I ain't gonna put the name out right now. I got a way of doing it, but I want to be able to do that too, so people can share the goodness of God. Because whether we go good, bad, and different, we're gonna have negative energy quite naturally. We're gonna have positive energy, but so much of the things she said today about the narcissistic behavior of people and bullies and predators, it made a lot of sense. Now we got to reflect back on that and take that energy and do something with it, so we can walk that path, so we won't let it bother you, or it won't be in your spirit or your soul that is going to do some type of negative, bring some kind of negative energy to you. So tomorrow, you guys, I'll see you on Recap Friday. I'm not quite sure about Saturday because I'm moving around and doing some things, and they're saying that we're going to have bad weather, so I'm not 100% sure. But if not, I think we're supposed to log on with John Saturday. That's not 100% sure. I got to get with him. But Sunday for sure, I think at 2 or 3 o'clock with Reverend Div Doolittle, aka D Ham. We'll bring him on Sunday, but I'll put the time up so you guys will know before this weekend is out. You'll definitely know before Sunday for sure. Thank you all for joining us. I miss seeing your face, Miss Nebraska. Thank you, Miss Tony. Thank you, Shy. Much love to you. You did a wonderful job last night. I just wanted to let you express that because so many people enjoyed it. And just like Shy came on the platform yesterday, as you follow me and you on my journey and you watch something on YouTube and you feel like it's negative, I will let you come on here and question me. I'm not going to let no liar come on here and question me. I'm not going to play no games, but I am an open book. And I feel like if you can stand by me and ask me questions, then I can like Lisa be able to tell you the truth. At the end of the day, whatever, my people following me feel or want to think or say, you have the right to ask me whatever you want to ask me. So if somebody want to come up here, or Shy want to come up here and do the same thing she did last night, just ask me questions, I don't mind that, because I have nothing to lie about. There are going to be some other things coming up. And stop sending me stuff, asking me have I found the pictures. I said I was looking for the pictures. I ain't gonna lie, I probably want to put the damn pictures out. I was just saying that. I mean, because if they too provocative, I can't put them out on no YouTube anyway. But I had like 4 cats hit me up saying, did you find the pictures, Miss Berry? Did you find the pictures? Y'all better go on one of the porn sites and go find you some pictures and whatever else you think you want to do from there. Because I'm not just particularly looking for no pictures that I was in. But I did have a lot of women thanking me for being honest and speaking the truth about what's going on with me. And I thank Shy too for asking me questions last night, because what happens is it allows you to know certain things that you didn't know. Or if you didn't know, I broke them down to you. So after we did that last night, I saw a good scenario and why Shy did that, how it was. People enjoyed it. So if you hear something on the internet, it's no better source to ask me. Why you gonna ask somebody and you know they lying? Why wouldn't you just come and ask me? And if that means that I gotta do a live to break it down for you guys, then I'll do that too. Y'all, it's gonna be some stuff tomorrow. Recap. I'm gonna get that ready. I'm looking forward to it. We can talk about Diddy a little bit and other things that's going on with it. I did put a video out earlier this week where it showed Diddy and some of the people that done party with him at these parties. They saying that anybody who done dealt with him, they think they went to a party, done affiliated any kind of way, you need to get you a lawyer. Because if they think that you knew about him trafficking any little girls or babies, it's going to be a problem. To that, you guys, peace out. God bless. Stand first for God. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. God said he'll make your enemy your footstool. Stay focused on what you need to stay focused on. Walk by faith and not by sight, and everything else will be all right. Take care, you guys, and God bless, and see y'all